Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Basketball Banter Show with your host, Matthew Valento. And today we're going to be doing a tier list for the first time on this channel. And we're going to be ranking some playoff teams. I know the playoff race is still well in effect. A lot of teams are still vying for position, but I feel like at this point in time, we have a good stance on the playoff teams that are going to make it in terms of the top six and then going down to 7 through 10 for the play-in tournament. So I want to rank how I think teams will fare this time around in the postseason. We're going to be doing both conferences and kind of going back and forth between whatever teams appear first. And just jumping straight into it, let me pull this up. I'm going to be ranking all these teams. And for the tiers, we got obviously at the top title contender. We only use this ranking for teams that are very serious about winning a championship. And I feel like we're starting to get a very good glimpse on who those teams are. And then next, we got on the brink. We got really good teams that are right on the cusp of being a championship winning franchise, but they're just not quite there yet. And then we got a competitive out. We got a team that's probably going to be in the mix come postseason and be a very tough team to get out. And there's a lot of those teams in the association right now. We got a first, second round exit, kind of self explanatory, like a lower seed that probably won't have much expectation. And then play an exit and then miss playoffs. Starting off with a very bipolar team, we got the Milwaukee Bucks, who were the first in the East, I believe 32-13, I want to say. They fired Adrian Griffin. They bring in Doc Rivers. It's been very up and down with Doc Rivers as the head coach. Got off to a rocky start, came out of the All Star break firing, I believe winning five or six in a row. And then they got waxed by the Golden State Warriors the other night. And at the time of this recording, they got the Lakers tonight. So obviously the star power's there. You have Giannis, you have Dame. Dame, who's kind of had an up and down season, but he's starting to figure it out. Had a great game against the Clippers. He had a 40 piece there. And when the Dame trade happened, I personally thought this team was going to be in the finals. I had them in the finals against the Lakers, which obviously that is probably not going to pan out. But yeah, the Bucks are a very interesting team. I think we all know how Doc Rivers coach teams go. They usually flame out in the playoffs. And while I like what they have, their defense is kind of eh. You have Malik Beasley guarding number one options, which is just a recipe for disaster. So I think in order to win a championship, you got to be great on both sides of the ball. They're great offensively, but defensively they could be hit and miss. And they were definitely a miss against Golden State the other night. So I'm gonna give them on the brink. I think with the duo of Giannis and Dame, it's just very hard to put this team any lower just because of the offensive firepower. But with Doc Rivers as your head coach, I just simply do not know if you're ever going to be able to get in that contention category, and that'll be something to monitor. Doc has three more seasons, I believe, after this one, getting the nod late in the year. Maybe he proves us wrong. Maybe he proves the whole NBA world wrong by turning the tide with the Bucks. But I'm just not a fan of the head coach, and we'll see. Moving on, the Brooklyn Nets. This is kind of one that's going to miss the playoffs. Ben Simmons recently getting ruled out for the rest of the year with back injury. Similar to last season, got ruled out because of his similar back impingement. Um, Ben Simmons, we can talk all day about, but this dude, this was kind of the make it or break it year, and I think he broke it. Um, I'm not very high on Ben Simmons moving forward, especially with all the money he's making. I believe up like low to mid $30 million. Not great. And then the Nets are just simply in a rebuilding stage. You still got Mikal Bridges, who had his moments this year, but wasn't necessarily performing how he was when he got initially traded there. But it's gonna be a process there. They're gonna take some time. So unfortunately, Nets will be missing out on the postseason this year. Then moving on to a team I really love, specifically what they did at the trade deadline. Getting Boyan was such a huge gift for them and just bolsters the bench a little bit more because we know Tibbs loves to play 7 to 8 guys, a lot of minutes, probably more 7 guys. But um, I'm gonna go competitive out here. I'm very much contemplating on the brink, but this team just doesn't have the playoff experience quite yet. I know you got Boyan, who's experienced. He's got some postseason run with the Utah Jazz and things of that nature, but just injuries are also a big concern. They've been banged up as of late. Julius Randle's still out. OG's still out. Brunson, he just banged up his knee the other night. So while I view them as a competitive out, fully healthy, it's all about getting healthy come postseason time. Hopefully they can, because at full strength, they're a very, very tough team to beat. They were last year. They flamed out against Miami, which I get, but I think this time around they got more options with OG and Boyan. It's going to be very hard to stop. And Brunson obviously having a great season. Julius Randle was an all star as well, but unfortunately was injured for that. So, really like the direction of the Knicks and where they're heading. And this postseason, they're going to be great. Toronto Raptors recently hopped on the Toronto Raptors, or sorry, Raptors Nation podcast for the first time. Talked about the Raptors. Obviously, just got announced that Scotty Barnes is out indefinitely with a fractured hand, and the plan was sort of in reach, but now with Scotty Barnes out, they just don't have enough firepower. Manuel quickly had a great game against Phoenix, putting up 18 assists, a career high. So that was great to see. RJ Barrett's been solid for them as well, but it's going to be a process. First year of a rebuild, I would expect them to not make playoffs for probably a season or two more. Perhaps they can sneakily be a playing team throughout this process, but not a fan of them making it into the plan this season, obviously, with all the injuries. So moving on, the Utah Jazz. They're a team that were definitely in the mix for a good chunk of the season. Currently 5.5 games out of the plan behind the LA Lakers. They're most definitely going to miss the playoffs. Um, Not much changed from last season. Kind of the same bunch of guys. Again, another rebuilding team, so it's going to take some time. Same with the Houston Rockets. They're going to miss the playoffs. Um, well, in my predictions heading into the season, I really like what the Rockets did. Yeah, they overpaid Van Fleet and Dylan Brooks, but they kind of had to since of their track record the past few seasons not being a very good team. So, but you got Sengun, who's just an absolute monster. He's growing at rapid paces. Put up a great game against Wemby the other night. Putting up, let me pull up the stats here. Putting up 45 points, 16 rebounds. So he's definitely one of the great centers rising up in this league. So it's going to be really fun to see him continue to grow. But I think building around Sengun is obviously given at this point in time. And I think letting the young guys grow alongside Brooks and Van Fleet is going to take a little bit more time. Perhaps maybe next season they can get in the mix now that they got a season under their belt and you got Udoka there as their head coach. So we'll see. But the New Orleans Pelicans, currently number 5 in the West, 37-25, have a half a game lead over the Phoenix Suns. I'm gonna go first or second round exit. As things stand now, if the playoffs start today, they play the LA Clippers, which I think pretty much everybody would take the Clippers in that matchup. While they are a first second round exit. I think this is a step in the right direction. Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson have been pretty much healthy the good majority of the season. CJ McCollum as well has been good for them. So I think for them, it's just continuing to build, seeing what BI and Zion could do for them. Trey Murphy's also been back. He's been a little bit up and down, but he's stringing together some good performances. And I think it's just all about building around BI and Zion. I think you're going to get some playoff experience with those two and then go from there and fill out the holes that need to be improved and continue to build this thing around those two. And it's going to be fun to watch. They're definitely they got two great players, two rising stars. So I think the Pelicans will definitely be a team that will take a game or two off of a team in the postseason, but not quite there to be a force in the postseason, but they'll get there for sure. The Los Angeles Lakers, my Los Angeles Lakers, um, very polarizing team. When things started projecting upwards, the teams ahead of them lost. Dallas is losing. Golden State lost. Sacramento lost. Phoenix lost. Leading up into the Lakers matchup with the Sacramento Kings. And it was a chance for them to capitalize, make up some ground, and make the top six a plausible outcome. And that just simply did not happen. They played the Kings at home, up 19 in the first quarter. Kings go on the run to close out the first. I believe it was they cut it down to 12 or 9, I want to say. I want to say 9. Then the second quarter, the Kings just took the lead and ran with it. So the Lakers just absolutely fell on their faces, blowing a 19-point lead in less than a quarter, which is absolutely mind-boggling. But it really pains me to say this, but after that game, I think the Lakers are playing exit. It's very disappointing to say that LeBron is now most likely going to be in the playing 3 seasons since being in LA, and he's missed the playoffs once. So 4 seasons, basically, he's underperformed. And with the guy who's argued as the greatest of all time, it really sucks to see. And it's just inconsistent performances, coaching issues, and a lot to break down come postseason or come off season, I should say. But I think for Laker fans, they should start tampering their expectation to the play in. Our schedule is still insanely difficult here in March. So I think the plan is definitely a possibility at this point in time. And I think you're going to be in the 10 or 9 spot, and you're just going to have to roll with the punches from there. And then if you do get out, you're going to play either Minnesota or OKC, possibly even Denver. I know we all hoop a lot about the OKC matchup, but just not a great look. And I'm not very high on this team's chances just due to their inconsistent play day in and day out. So the Lakers are my first playing exit. The Chicago Bulls, the team that should have blown it up for ages now, they're going to be another playing exit. They're currently ninth in the Eastern Conference. Zach LaVine out for the year. You got DeMar DeRozan, Kobe White, who's truly elevated as a young star. And just a couple of months, he's been absolutely great for the Chicago Bulls this season and stepping up with Zach LaVine being out of for the rest of the year, averaging 19 points on the season, almost a 20-point per game score, averaging 21 in his last 10. And he's just shooting great right now. And for the Bulls, that is usually filled with a lot of doom and gloom. Kobe White is definitely a bright spot. It's just a lot of question marks with Nikola Vucevic and DeMar DeRozan, what they do with those aging guys. As this thing's clearly not going to work out. Lonzo, we all know the situation with him. Zach LaVine, who may be traded this offseason as well. So the Bulls really got to figure it out and pick a direction, and the right direction is blowing it up. But they don't seem to view it that way. Moving on. The Timberwolves, I think they're on the brink. Um, really great season for them, fighting for that number one spot right now. Currently, the number one seed in the Western Conference. Really great season for them. 44-19. Great defensive team. Ant is doing Ant things. That great chase down block to win the game against the Indiana Pacers. Absolutely disgusting. And then obviously you got Cat who torn his meniscus and he's out for a month at least. The hope is he can come back early in the first round. We'll see. But that's just a massive blow to their sales. They were clicking all season long, especially defensively with Cat and Rudy Gobert finally trying to figure it out. Definitely looks a lot better than last season. And Anthony Edwards continuing to solidify himself as that number one guy. If Cat didn't suffer that torn meniscus, maybe I'd say title contender, but it's just up in the air right now to see how he performs when he comes back. But yeah, the Timberwolves are definitely going to be a good team this postseason for sure. The Blazers, I'm going to kind of breeze over this. Um, Rebuilding team, not much to say about it. They are years away from being in the postseason. Denver Nuggets, I kind of talked about this in the last video. I think they're the team to beat still. Just how they handle their crunch time offense is just so unstoppable with Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. So I think those two are going to be hard to beat this time around. And I think they're still my title or my champion at this point in time, unless proven differently. I mean, their gutsy win against Boston last night was a great example of that. Um, the Nuggets have their closer in Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. Whoever decides to do it is great for them. And then the Celtics kind of struggled, and Jason Tatum had his low moments in crunch time. So the Celtics need to figure it out how to close things out come winning time. So that'll be something to monitor as the season progresses. OKC Thunder, I think they'll be a competitive out while they've had a great, and I mean a great season. Shea is simply one of the best point guards in the league right now. Chet Holmgren, obviously a great defensive center. Needs to put on a little bit of weight, but and some muscle. Overall, just a great young team, and that's where I kind of draw the line. They're a young team, but this playoff experience will definitely be great for them. I think the more experience they'll get through the coming years, they'll be better as when it comes to the postseason. So for now, I'm gonna give them a competitive out. Maybe they can make it to a conference final, but that might be a little bit of a stretch for me, depending on the matchups and who they face. But I think definitely they'll be a competitive out for sure. The Memphis Grizzlies, decimated with injuries. John Morant, Desmond Bain, Marcus Smart, Jaron Jackson's missed some time. So all in all, a very injury riddled season for the Grizzlies. Hopefully they can bounce back, but we'll see. It's a very unfortunate set of circumstances for them. The Dallas Mavericks, they're another team that I really liked what they did at the deadline, acquiring PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford. They've been struggling. They looked great in the first couple of games out of the All Star break, but they kind of been struggling. Luca has been great, picking up double doubles left and right, but hasn't resulted in the wins as they would like. While they're currently in the plan, I think they can get out of it just due to Luka Doncic being my MVP personally. Kyrie Irving is still Kyrie Irving. They got the supporting cast. Um, while there could still be some hiccups in terms of production from these role guys, I think it's still on paper a pretty good team, and I think they'll be able to get out of the plan when it's all said and done, just due to sheer star power, probably. And that's usually how Luca playoff teams go. So I'll put them as a first, second round exit, but I do like the direction that they're going. They got a good, solid foundation moving forward. San Antonio Spurs obviously going to miss the playoffs. Wemby is just phenomenal. So continue to build around him. See what happens. Maybe get a Trey Young, possibly. I know he's been a name that's been thrown around, but getting Wemby a point guard that can pass is going to be number one on the wish list for the Spurs this offseason. The Phoenix Suns. I'll go competitive out. While I've slandered the Big Three model specifically for them, the Big Three has not played a whole lot of games. Beal has missed a lot of time. Now that Beal's back, Booker's out, and it's just been that revolving door. Kevin Durant's been healthy for the most part. It's just Booker and Beal just can't get on the same page when they try to play together. It seems like whenever one's available, one's out. So who knows how harmful that's going to be? But I'm going to sound like a hypocrite, but I think with those three scoring stars, I guess I don't really know if Bradley Beal's a star anymore, but those three guys that are definitely capable of putting the ball in the basket. It's going to make them a very tough out, but I think their defense will definitely show their true colors come postseason. So that's where I will place the Suns. For next, the LA Clippers. I'll go on the brink. Um, they're a really good team, obviously. They're in the mix for the top seed of the West. James Harden's been great for them. Kawhi Leonard's been great. Paul George has been a little bit up and down, but overall, I think they're still a great team, all things considered. Um, Russell Westbrook fractured his hand, so that'll be something to monitor as the postseason inches closer. But I know for the Clippers, it's all about performing in the postseason. I think they definitely have the ability to get to the conference final. Not sure if they'll be able to get to the finals for sure. If they play the Nuggets, say in the conference finals, I'm taking the Nuggets, but they're definitely right there on the cusp. It pains me to say that, but um, yeah, we'll see. Maybe they'll prove me wrong, but I think the Clippers are definitely right there. Perhaps maybe a couple tweaks around the edges in the off season, I should say, will probably bode well for them. Golden State Warriors. I'm probably gonna give them a play and exit. Um, you obviously have Steph. You have Draymond, who's been good. Obviously, two Hall of Famers make it three with Clay Thompson. Um, just don't know. I don't like the depth necessarily. Pods, the rookie, has been really great for them, but I think I just don't like their chances getting out of the plane. In all honesty, um, like they're the ninth seed right now. They play the Lakers. If the plane starts today, it you can pick either way. Both teams kind of had their ups and downs in terms of play, but I think the Warriors may be suited as a play-in exit this year. Um, Detroit Pistons missing the playoffs, obviously. Sacramento Kings. They're another team I'm kind of iffy on. Currently seventh in the West. Um, this is tough. If they played Dallas in the plane right now. Man, I think they'll be able to get out. I think they'll be able to get out of the plane. I say they probably lose to Dallas, but I think they could definitely beat the Warriors or the Lakers, whoever wins that matchup. So I'll give the Kings the benefit of the doubt. I think they'll get out of the plane and make another playoff appearance for sure. For the Cavs, I'm gonna give them a competitive out. I know I have a Cavs fan who's not particularly high on this team, specifically with the play of Darius Garland. He hasn't looked like himself as of late, and Evan Mobley recently just turned his ankle, and he might be out for a little while. Donovan Mitchell has been great. He's missed some time though, so I think the Cavs, if they're able to get everybody back in time for the postseason, they'll definitely be a competitive out. But um, I think they can definitely get to a second round and make it very competitive. But again, depends on the matchups, and we shall see how they pan out in the postseason. Boston, while their crunch time offense has looked a little shaky, they're currently 7.5 lead in first in the Eastern Conference. So I definitely think they're the favorite to get out of the East for sure. It'll be interesting to see how Tatum performs in crunch time. Hasn't looked great the past couple of games, but it'll be very interesting to see. But I think it's definitely the Celtics conference to lose at this point in time. I think they've definitely separated themselves from everybody in the conference. So I think they'll definitely get out of the East for sure and be in the finals representing the Eastern Conference. The Philadelphia 76ers, a team that's been on a slide since Joel Embiid's been injured, currently the seventh seed in the conference. Don't know when Joel's coming back. Uh, I'll give him benefit of the doubt. I'll say Joel comes back in time for the play-in. If they're able to get out of it, that'd be great. They're tied with Miami actually for the sixth seed, so they're still able to get into that top six for sure. If Joel comes back, I just don't think he's going to be 100% healthy. So that's just the biggest question mark for them. I really liked how they were looking fully healthy with Nick Nurse there. Their defense was looking pretty solid. I like adding Buddy Hield into the mix as well. But just injuries have been absolutely killing the Sixers this year. Tyrese Maxey, an all-star, great young player to pair alongside Joel with the departure of James Harden. So it's all about health, as it is for most of these teams, to get healthy at the right time, and hopefully the Sixers can do that. But not particularly excited about their chances. The Hornets, without explaining, LaMelo Ball has been injured. A lot of injuries to the young players for the Hornets. They'll be missing the playoffs. Same with the Wizards. Just not not a great team. Um, the Orlando Magic, sneakily the fourth seed in the Eastern Conference. This is a team that, while they've had a great regular season, I'll give them a first, second round exit. Again, a team that needs experience. Paulo leading the charge over there. Getting his first postseason experience will be great for them. Franz, Jalen Suggs, Markel Fultz, Wendell Carter, all those guys. Getting that experience will be great for them, and I'm very excited to see how they'll fare um, against some of the more experienced teams in the East. So that'll be interesting to see, but can't expect too much from them in their first postseason appearance in a while. The Miami Heat, I'll give a competitive out. Um, every time they're kind of on the lower end of the standings, they're kind of flirting with the plan. They usually find a way to get out of it and just somehow defy all odds and make it to the finals. So can't count out Jimmy and Bam and all those guys. Tyler, Terry Rozier, which he's been struggling since coming over there, but he's starting to figure it out slowly but surely. So can never count out the Miami Heat. I think they'll definitely be able to make a little bit of noise come this playoff season. Um, the Indiana Pacers, they've been very up and down as well. I'm gonna give them a play-in exit. I really like what Tyrese is doing. I like the addition of Pascal. Maybe a little bit of tweaking this or this off season. Miles Turner has been good as well. Aaron Neesmith has been a pretty cool comeback story. He's been great for them as well. But I think again, a young team that needs experience. Pascal, I assume he's probably going to resign there, and hopefully the Pacers can just kind of bring in a little bit of bench help this offseason. But it's kind of been up and down. Their defense has not been great. If their offense isn't clicking, it kind of doesn't bode well for them. So I'll give them a play and exit. And then the Atlanta Hawks, the very anticlimactic team to end this thing off with. But without Trey Young currently, the 10th spot, I think that's probably will that's probably where they'll fare. Don't know if Trey's going to come back in time, but even if he did, it's a plain exit. The Hawks are just stuck in mediocrity, and yeah, the Hawks are not a very exciting team to talk about. I'm gonna keep it honest. Perhaps Trae Young gets moved this offseason. We'll see. But yeah, that's my tier list of all the playoff teams, playing teams, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, had to sort out the non-playoff teams in there, but I dig it. Having two title contenders maybe a little bit of a stretch, but I think it's probably fair. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if I just don't know ball. Let me know. Let me know. I'll definitely be open to suggestions, but I think this is a pretty solid list. As we all know, the playoffs are very unpredictable despite seeding. Teams can over and underperform, and that's the fun part about the NBA. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe on this video, and follow all the social media down below. Um, Check out the Spotify, leave a rating, leave a 5 stars. Follow the TikTok as well, follow the Instagram as well, trying to grow this thing out. And if you're new to this channel, welcome. Um, I'm going to be making videos for this channel every Friday, so feel free to check it out. But yeah, that'll do it for this episode of Tier Listing NBA Teams. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time.